Okay, good afternoon, everyone, or good morning, depending on where you're calling in from. Welcome to our GNSA Digital Innovators Program Technical Assistance webinar. My name is Marta Okoniewski, and I am the Director of Student Engagement at the American Association of Colleges of Nursing. And many of you may have seen me through our Graduate Nursing Student Academy. So I'm excited to tell you a little bit about the Digital Innovators Program, tell you what to expect if you are interested in applying for this program, what it kind of looks like, give you an idea of the structure, the final outcomes of the program. I'm going to keep this very informal, so if you do have any questions, feel free to use the chat area.
Let me know how we do that. I feel like I know they really want it.
Sorry. Feel free to use the chat area or, just unmute yourself to ask your questions. But again, hoping to provide you an overview and kind of an explanation of the program so you have a better understanding if you are interested in participating. So we are now in the fourth cohort of the program. We initially started this during the pandemic and completely did everything virtually. But there are a lot of virtual components to this program, but you do have an opportunity to gather in person at our GNSA conference, and I'll talk about that a little bit later on. So in terms of what is the Digital Innovators Program, so specifically, this is an opportunity for those who are either interested in teaching or are already teaching. So if you are already teaching, you are certainly still eligible to apply for this program. It is a team-based opportunity, so you do have to apply with another individual in a team of two. And it really is focused on offering tools and modern approaches to educating the future nursing workforce. So really thinking about how to use technology in your teaching and in the classroom. And the goal of the program is really to find opportunities for you to innovate and use components throughout the learnings of the program in your classroom, in your teaching, whether that's in your clinical setting, in your classroom or didactic setting, but really find ways to innovate. And this is a program that we've developed with a partnership with Apple. So it does have an Apple component to it as well. So in terms of the structure of the program, so like I mentioned, you are going to be working in a team of two. So outside of the program, you should be collaborating with your teammate. And it really does help to work in that team-based environment so that you can bounce ideas off of each other, discuss, reflect after the sessions. So the application is open until the end of this month. And then in December, we will be making final selections for the Digital Innovators Program. So we do have an opportunity for 30 students or 15 teams to participate in the program. And in December, if you are selected, you will receive some pre-work. And that includes just some information to kind of help you get started and prepare you for January, when we would be starting virtual classes. And we will kick off with an orientation in January. So right now, we are holding the classes twice a month. This is a tentative schedule of the second Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time and the fourth Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. We understand that there may be things that may come up that you may not be able to attend. And so that's also why it helps to work in a team of two, that one representative is always at a class. Because these classes are offered through the Apple Education team and also the Apple Distinguished Educators, we are unable to record the classes just because Apple does not have the permission to record those types of sessions. So we do encourage you to make every effort to attend the classes. And one of the things that you're encouraged to do throughout the classes is to really sketch note. And you may be familiar with that. I will go over what sketchnoting is in a little bit. But that is a way for you to kind of innovate as you're learning the concepts that are being introduced in the classes. And throughout the course of the program, you really start by thinking about one area where you may want to innovate. It could be something very specific, like a specific classroom assignment that you would like to incorporate these technology concepts you'll be learning. Or it could be something broader about thinking about an entire course and how to restructure. But really, that will be your starting point, and using that as an opportunity to think about how you can innovate as you're learning going throughout the courses. So the classes will be held twice a month from January through the end of July, and in August we have kind of a final digital showcase. So throughout your coursework, you will be able to meet with a facilitator. Traditionally, they hold office hours that you'll be able to, meet with them afterwards. You can talk about your project. You can go into questions that you may have. And you'll also have an opportunity to meet with the Apple education team. When you meet with them, that is another time where you can talk with them about your project, share your idea, and let them know kind of what it is that you're thinking to accomplish by the end of the program. So in terms of what, and I hope you all can still see my screen. Perfect. So in terms of what the pillars are of the Digital Innovators Program, there's a few aspects of it that you'll be able to work on as you're going through the courses. There's an opportunity for connectedness, excuse me. Not only are you connecting with your teammate, but you'll also be able to connect with the other members of the Digital Innovators Program. So I know that their members of past cohorts have really been able to connect and network with each other, both during the coursework, but also at the GNSA conference. So it is an opportunity to find out ways perhaps to even collaborate on other projects, and really use the ideas of the other teams and think about ways that you can implement some of those ideas in your own work and teaching. There's opportunities, of course, for critical thinking. Although a lot of the courses are taught by Apple distinguished educators, some of them don't have a nursing background. So it will be interesting to kind of think through how to incorporate some of the concepts being introduced into your own nursing education, nursing teaching. Collaboration, of course, not only are you collaborating with your teammate, but like I said, you'll be collaborating with your cohort. Problem solving, that's kind of the whole goal behind this program, is thinking, is there a challenge that you're currently experiencing in your teaching, or you're anticipating a difficulty in teaching that you could help use the concepts learned throughout this program to really address that problem. And the last one being reflection. There are a lot of opportunities for you after the course, after the class, to reflect with your teammate, to reflect with the facilitator, and really think about, even using your sketch notes, really think about how can you incorporate that in your teaching. So what are the final outcomes of the Digital Innovators Program? I mentioned a project a couple of times, so I will reference that. But one of the things that you're going to be doing is really showcasing the story of you becoming a digital innovator. And that will happen through your sketch notes. That will happen through each course. After each course, you really will have an opportunity to grow and to be able to use technology in various ways. And hopefully sometimes it will simplify things. It will make teaching easier. It will bring innovation into your classroom or your clinical setting as well, wherever your teaching may be taking place. The final digital showcase with deans and faculty. So this is going to be something a little different that we did with our first cohort, what we haven't done with our last two cohorts, but you'll be able to create a project, a prototype. It doesn't have to be a final final project or final prototype, but it could really still be in its draft stages. But you'll be working on that throughout the entire program so that in August, you'll be able to present to the dean at your school, to faculty that you may want to invite in this digital showcase. And it will include kind of an overview of the problem that you were seeking to address, and then how you are innovating and implementing these different concepts that you've learned throughout the program in addressing this problem. And then finally, there is a networking opportunity at the GNSA conference. So we will encourage you all, or the individuals in the Digital Innovators Program in the cohort, to attend the GNSA conference, which will take place August 1 and 2 in Washington, D.C. And that will be another opportunity for you to network in person with your cohort. And we will be offering a session specific to concepts around the Digital Innovators Program to all of the attendees. So at that point in time, you will essentially be the experts and the digital innovators. So it'll be an opportunity to present and to have conversations around what you've learned, and share that with others at the conference. So what are the technology requirements? Because there is a heavy technology focus in this program, it is focused on the use and integration of Apple products. During the classes, we will focus on specific Apple products that are available through the iPad OS platform, but we will also cover alternatives in other platforms as well, in case that is a concern or something that you may be interested in. Oh, I'm hearing that we're still on the pillars slide. I apologize. Let me just stop sharing real quick. Okay, you should now be seeing a technology requirements slide. Perfect. So as I mentioned, there are technology requirements. We do ask that individuals who participate in the program have a personalized iPad. So I know that sometimes you may be able to borrow one or lend one, but we do ask you to have the ability to have your own login within that iPad. The iPad should be loaded to have the latest iPad OS or the operating system. And we do prefer that you use an Apple Pencil, as there will be times where, it'll be beneficial to have an Apple Pencil. Sometimes individuals may have, a third-party pencil that they use with their iPad, but having that specific tool will be useful throughout the program as well. So I mentioned sketchnoting and talked a little bit about that. Throughout the Digital Innovators Program, you'll really get to fine-tune and work on that particular skill. And so what exactly is sketchnoting? Some of you may have heard about this, or this may be completely new to you, but essentially it's a visual form of note-taking. You can use illustrations, symbols, text, to really, take notes rather than just using a lot of text. And we encourage the cohort to use sketchnoting at the beginning of each class. And then at the end of the class, you are asked to share a screenshot of your sketch note. And this is a wonderful way to kind of demonstrate how your innovation is growing. And it does, there's some information out there that it does help you retain information better, but it is a different way to take notes. And we certainly understand that it might be something completely new, and so it may take some time to get used to, but you'll be able to see your own evolution and your own journey using sketchnoting as you're in this program. And so, members who participate from past cohorts, I think it's very interesting to see at the beginning, you still use a lot of words. And then as you progress, you tend to use more illustrations and symbols. Now, important to note is you do not have to be artistically, have, great skills artistically. This is really something that anybody can do. And I challenge you all to try to do this in one of your classes, and see if that's a process that you enjoy. So that is sketchnoting. And I am going to move into the application requirements and questions that we are asking in the application. After I go over this slide, if there are individuals from our past cohort on the call, I would love to welcome you to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your experience in the program and any advice you may have to those who are interested in applying. But again, as I mentioned from the beginning, this is a team-based approach, so you are required to apply with another student. Please do just complete one application for the team. We do ask that those who are applying to the program are interested in teaching.
So are you a dessert before dinner type guy?
At the beginning are either teaching already or perhaps may be interested in teaching. So either of those would qualify. In the application, you are asked to provide a letter of support from your dean or director. We don't have a template online, but the letter is very simple, just stating that, your dean supports your participation in this program and supports your participation in the digital showcase. Hopefully your dean will be there. Also your attendance at the GNSA conference. And then in the application, we ask you to really think about why it is that you're interested in participating in this program and list 1 to 2 objectives that you hope to accomplish by the end of the program. And then finally, we ask that you think about a challenge in your teaching learning environment that you would like to overcome by your participation in this program. And what we're hoping is that this challenge that you identify really serves as kind of the starting point of your project that you will be completing at the end of the program. Of course, that may shift as you're learning these various concepts, and that is okay too. But really think about, if there is something that you would like to address or something that you already see a gap in, that you could really use the tools learned throughout the Digital Innovators Program to help address that gap. With that, I know I saw Colleen on the call, and Colleen, I was wondering if you could unmute yourself, tell us a little bit about your program, and share, your experience in the last cohort of the Digital Innovators Program.
Sure. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Great. Hi, everybody. I'm Colleen Seabrook-Holmes. And I am I was a DNP student until recently. I graduated over the summer, and I graduated with a certificate in higher education in addition to the DNP. And so I joined the Digital Innovators Program with my partner, Dipali, who was also a DNP student. She's also graduated. We both have an interest in teaching. I'm not currently in a teaching role, and I think Dipali's still in clinical practice, but we both sort of aspire to be educators in the future. And so basically, the really main goal for me to apply to the program and join it was because I know that nursing students are changing. I know that we're in a new generation of nurses, and the old methods of teaching are probably not going to be as effective because they are looking for the bells and the whistles and the technology and looking for innovative and creative ways to receive information. And to meet those needs, I really felt like this would be an excellent program, and it was. Just briefly, our project that we proposed was using an application called GarageBand, which is an Apple program, to create podcasts. We created an assignment for nursing students to use the this technology, GarageBand, for creating podcasts on whatever topic they wanted to. So instead of writing sort of a traditional term paper on a topic, they could choose to either have sort of a host or expert type of format, or even just a singular person speaking, or even a panel discussion about a particular topic. And they could record that using GarageBand, and that would be what they would be graded on. And of course, there's no reason why they couldn't share it on social media afterwards if it, if it was a really interesting or good topic. And the program was perfect. If I recall, we did have one guest speaker who spoke about podcasts during the course of the year. We attended the twice monthly sessions. I think DePauli and I only missed maybe one session between the two of us. So it was important to kind of remain plugged in and not miss a lot of sessions. And what's also exciting is the opportunity to have your work published in an ebook. I don't know if that's actually occurred yet, but I know that was sort of the intention for us to all gather our projects into this one collective ebook. In terms of challenges, I am a digital immigrant. I am not a digital native. And so I did struggle a little bit with the technology. And in fact, I don't think I ever grasped the sketchnoting that we did every week. I dabbled in it. I had my iPad and iPencil, and incidentally, I don't own one. So what I did was I approached the chairman of my department and asked if they would supply one for me, and they did. So for myself and my partner, we both were able to get an iPad and an iPencil from technology, borrow it, obviously. And then we returned it at the end of August when we were finished with our program. And, just, I would say, keep your eye on what the deliverables are. Kind of comes to the end where it's time to get everything ready for the conference. And then I know if you're not working on it all along, it's a little bit of a push to get everything done at the last minute. But, and I know Marta will go over what those deliverables are, but yeah, it was a great program. I learned a lot, and it really was a great complement to the teaching courses that I took for my DMP program.
Thank you so much, Colleen. That was very helpful. And I know that Nara is also on the line, and I would love for her, she's from our last cohort as well, would love for her to share her experience.
Hi, Nara.
Hi, Colleen. How are you guys? Sorry.
Good.
Trying to adjust myself. I came on camera. Hi, everyone. My name is Nara. I'm a Master's of Nurse Education student. I'll be graduating this December, hopefully. I graduate in Master's of Nurse Education Leadership and Technology from Kennesaw State University, and that's in Kennesaw, Georgia, outside of Atlanta. I decided to apply for the program just because I knew technology is going to be the way of the future. My program definitely harps on that. So I just felt like learning the Apple stuff would be great to know, because I'm always an Apple girl and I have my iPad and I love technology. Also, just like as an oncology nurse, we see a lot of representatives or patients who use their iPhones and technology and all that stuff to learn more about the disease process. So I really wanted to integrate the two. The classes can be a little bit not a lot, but just it's a lot of information and can be a little bit overwhelming, especially trying to learn much about Apple products, but I really enjoyed it. For my project, I did an oncology instructional module for my practicum course, and I used Apple Pages and the other technologies that I learned doing this program to deliver a really solid presentation, which was really well received by my faculty and my students. It does take your dean of director school to do a letter of recommendation. I was able to show it to her when I graduated this program, and she really loved it. Like Colleen said, the deliverables, definitely work on them as you're on the way. Work on if you're a teammate, and try to get it accomplished. Having a teammate just really helps you keep you on track, but also just to deliver to decrease bias and help to understand, where your strengths and weaknesses are. What I really, really liked about our sessions personally was the fact that you can talk to a lot of Apple educators, and some of them are still working with some of my faculty to accomplish the AACN Essentials. So it's a nice little roundabout. And just to know, like, this is the way that we're going, I really encourage you to use the technology, because another COVID can happen. You can have a situation where, the technology is offline, you want your kids to have self-directed learning. So this program also helped me achieve that. And it's something I know I would want to stick to. So hope that was good. If you have any questions, please reach out to me.
Thank you both so much. So yeah, I think both of them are very open to you reaching out to them directly. So we can certainly follow up after this session and send out an email with their contact information. And I did just want to go back to one slide that it seems my screen wasn't adjusting appropriately, but in terms of the deliverables and the final outcomes. So I mentioned using sketchnotes to showcase the story of really becoming that digital innovators. And Colleen mentioned it was difficult to master sketchnoting, but I think it is something that as you do it more often, it does become a little bit easier. And then, of course, the final digital showcase. So it will be a different opportunity this time where we will be inviting the deans and the faculty at your schools to attend. So you'll really be able to share what you've been doing with them at that time. Colleen also mentioned the publishing an EPUB in the Apple Library. We are still in the process of doing that for the last cohort. But that is something that we will be putting together. The facilitator will provide templates for how to do that to make it relatively simple, and then we'll be combining everything on our end. But really the networking. So as Nara mentioned, networking also with the other Apple Distinguished Educators. There are some nurses that will be presenting, but certainly individuals within other professions. So it is a wonderful opportunity to kind of network and collaborate. But again, also an opportunity to network and collaborate at the GNSA conference.
I think what was also really exciting is after working with everybody for, I don't know, 6 months or so, then you get to meet everybody in person at the end.
Right, exactly. Thank you, Colleen. So the deadline for this is November 30th. This QR code here on this page will take you to the Digital Innovators page from where you can go to the application. I've also included, excuse me, pardon my voice. I've also included my email address in case you have any specific questions. I see that Nara has already input her email address in the chat area. Also, and I've been seeing some chats come in, so I do want to read those out loud because this might be helpful to the entire group. So there was a question about how to pair with someone if you are in an online program or an online student. And that's a great question. So we had other students in that similar situation in the last cohort. And what we do is we encourage you to post in the GNSA Connect community if you are looking for a partner. I did see somebody else in the chat is also looking for a partner, so the two of you may want to connect following this. But be sure to post in the Connect community, and we will keep track of that. Hopefully there are connections that will be able to be made through that discussion board. But what we did last year is we also paired up some individuals. If we saw, posts about people looking for partners, we were able to pair individuals in that way as well. Another question that came up is from a team who is going to be graduating in May of 2024 and whether they are still eligible to apply for this program. And yes, you are certainly still eligible. We, have had other students or other teams that graduated at the end of May as well, and then continued on. As long as you're willing to make that commitment to continue participating in the classes post graduation, you are certainly still eligible and welcome to apply for the program. So I have another person who's looking for a partner. So again, I encourage you to post in the community. We'll be sure that there's a discussion board on that. I know I've already seen one in the AACN community, but also, we will be sure to make that in the GNSA community, which is specifically for our graduate student members. Now, if you have any other questions, please feel free to unmute yourself or use the chat area. Another great question that came in is whether there is a template for the support letter from the dean. So right now we don't have a template, but if you are looking for some guidance on this, feel free to send me an email and I can send some information. But primarily you're just looking for the dean to support your participation in the program, knowing that you are required to attend these classes twice a month, but also looking for them to support your project and participate in the virtual showcase, and then attend the GNSA conference. So if you are looking for a specific template because you would want, to share something with your dean, let me know, and I can help provide you with something. There's another question about what is the time. I'm assuming that is what is the time commitment of the program, which is a great question. So we typically say that you should be anticipating to work around 5 to 6 hours every month on this work, which does include the courses or the classes. And the classes will each be an hour long. And then in addition to the classes, we expect that you would be meeting with your teammate and doing some reflection post classes. So some months that may be, more closer to the 5 to 6 hour time frame, whereas at the beginning it may be less than that. Any other questions? There's another question about someone who has both a dean and a director of the program, the FNP program. We do ask that it is the dean rather than the director of either, the PhD or DMP program, or in your case, the FNP program. We do ask that it does come from the dean, but if, we understand that sometimes given the time that may not be possible. So it is okay for it to come from the FNP program director. Another great question that just came in is whether the partner has to be from your school, and they do not. You can certainly work with a partner or a teammate from a different school, even a different program. We've seen both of those happen in our past cohorts. And it is really, sometimes the connections are due to two colleagues who work at the same place, but are totally different schools, decide to work together. Or because people were looking for partners and we paired them up. But that is certainly a wonderful opportunity to get different viewpoints and understanding of different programs and different schools. So certainly okay to be from different programs or schools. If you have several campuses and there's an assistant dean for your specific campus, absolutely okay for them to write your letter of support. Any other questions? Okay, I don't see any other questions coming in. I really appreciate you all being here, and thank you to Colleen and Nara for sharing your experience in the last cohort. If you have any other questions or if you think of anything else, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. I will type in my email in the chat again for you all. But again, hope to see your applications for the Digital Innovators Program. And thank you everyone for attending, and happy Friday.
Thank you.